Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our regular council meeting for July 2nd, 2024 at 7:19. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we all please remain standing for a moment of silence for our first responders and military members, please? Thank you. May be seated. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Roth.
Present.
Councilmember Wallace. Present. Mayor Pro Tem Samra.
Present.
Mayor Moran.
Present.
For the record, Councilmember Soto is not in attendance.
Thank you. Next, we have closed session announcements. Roy, are you on the line?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Hold on.
There.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. There are no reportable actions at this time.
Thank you, Roy. Next, we have are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, moving forward. Next, we have citizen comments. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the City Council on any item not on the agenda. Members of the public, when recognized by a mayor, should come forward to the lectern and identify themselves. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. In accordance with state open meeting laws, no action will be taken by the City Council this evening. Are there any citizen comments on items not in the agenda? Please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor Moran and Council. Kristan Santos here, representing the office of Congressman John Duarte. And Congressman Duarte greatly enjoyed being a part of the City of Livingston's Sister City ceremony, welcoming the delegations from Zapotlaneo, Charinceo, and Jalostotitlan from Mexico to the City of Livingston. And he also greatly enjoyed the tequila he won in the raffle, but that's what I get for giving him my raffle ticket. But in all seriousness, he was incredibly grateful for the invitation and being able to participate in this important opportunity to forge stronger bonds between our communities and nations. It's been a very busy time in D.C. over the past few weeks. A number of crucial appropriations bills have recently made their way to the House floor. Congressman Duarte is proud to have recently voted for H.R. 8580. That's the fiscal year 2025 MILCON, VA, and Related Agencies Appropriations Act. And specifically when it comes to the VA, this bill provides $337.4 billion for the VA. That's $30.2 billion more than last year. It fully funds veterans VA medical care at $112.6 billion and provides $22.8 billion in advance funding for the Toxic Exposure Fund. Congressman Duarte remains committed to ensuring that local veterans see more, not fewer benefits. There was also the fiscal year 2025 Defense Appropriations Act. This provides over $183 billion for active, reserve, and National Guard military personnel, including an increase of 4.5% in basic pay for all military personnel effective January 1st, and an additional increase of 15% in pay for our junior enlisted service members. It also enhances the DoD's role in countering the flow of illicit fentanyl and other synthetic opioids into Central Valley communities and our nation as a whole by allocating $1.14 billion for drug interdiction and counter-drug activities, $140 million for demand reduction activities as well. There was also the fiscal year 2025 Homeland Security Appropriations Act. This includes a plethora of efforts to secure our southern border and provides $28.4 billion for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, better known as FEMA. So it provides $22.7 billion for the FEMA Disaster Relief Fund to support response and recovery efforts following major disasters and emergencies such as the winter floods of 2023 that greatly affected Merced County. It also provides $3.8 billion for grants, education, training, and exercises, including the highly relevant $720 million for the Assistance to Firefighters Grant, AFG, and the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Grants, or otherwise known as the SAFER Grant, which provides resources to recruit, train, and equip first responders. The Congressman was recently proud to sign a letter of support for Merced County's SAFER Grant application. We're going to continue to work with them on that, and we'd like to conclude by wishing everyone a happy and safe 4th of July. I believe the Congressman's going to try to make it out to the July 4th festival coming up soon here in Livingston, and he looks forward to being in attendance if he can. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Is there anyone with citizen comments for any items not on the agenda? Is there any citizen comments on the phone? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, coming back to the dais at 7:24, closing the citizen comments. Announcements and reports, Supervisor Rodrigo Espinoza.
Good evening, Council. Just first of all, I just want to make sure that the public knows about the cooling centers. I know that usually it's the police department, right? I don't know if we use this building as a cooling center, but I know that the police department is used usually as a cooling center. I just want to make sure that the public's aware. I just want to state it, just personally, that I received a court order for a deposition to do a deposition on the Jose Ramirez versus the city of Livingston. So just for knowledge. Also, one thing is, many people call me regarding the illegal fireworks in Livingston, and so hopefully our police department is cracking down on illegal fireworks. The other day, I was coming home at 11:30, and they were going off behind my house. So, it's always, every year it's an issue. I know that I talked to the mayor, and we walked around the blocks trying to get the neighbors to cut it out. So hopefully our police department will get on the fireworks as well. So one thing that we passed on one of the board meetings was a planning zone amendment to the general plan regarding 20-acre parcels, that if you have at least 21 acres and there's a family member that wants to divide a 1-acre parcel or more, but you gotta be able to have a 20-acre parcel left over. So if you have 18 acres, and so obviously you can't do it unless you buy a few acres from your neighbor and are able to, because sometimes, property owners want to be able to, take off 1 or 2 acres and sell off the land because they don't want to farm anymore. So they're tired or they're elderly, and they just want to have their home and not having to move and pay a lot more money for another parcel. So they're able to buy some acreage from the neighbors around their property, and where they'll be able to have 20 acres at least, and they can sell those 20 acres to their neighbor or to whoever else, however it works out. But I just want to let the general public know about that parcel. So if you have any more questions, I'll be glad to answer more questions regarding that, or send you the amendment to the zone. Also, as you are aware, we made 2 appointments to the Behavioral Health Board of the county, and I know we had Linda on there, and also the other gentleman I forgot, Ranjit, I think, right? Jandeep, yeah. And they were both appointed, but they never went to the meetings, and so they dropped off. So I have those 2 appointments in case somebody wants to do an application with me to the Behavioral Health Board of the county. And also on the 15th, we'll have a ribbon cutting. I brought a flyer. It'll be in South Route 99, Merced, Plainsburg, Arboleda, Columbian, Mammoth, Silhouettes, ribbon cutting ceremony. So I'm going to read a little bit about the grand opening, what I was sent. The background: during construction of the Plainsburg and Arboleda highway projects in 2012 in Merced County, numerous environmental protections measures were implemented, including the management of importing, obtaining fill for overpass abutments through the excavation of large stormwater basins near the Plainsburg and Arboleda Road intersections. During the excavations of the basins, nearly 2,000 Ice Age fossils were discovered, including Columbian, Mammoth, giant ground sloth, western camel, and a host of other scientifically significant vertebrate specimens. The fossils were donated to the UC Merced School of Natural Sciences based on the significance of educational benefit of the Plainsburg Arboleda discovery, highlighting The discovery with the commemorative mammoth silhouettes over the LeGrand and Plainsburg South Route 99 overpasses was part of the environmental mitigation to compensate for paleontological impacts, which is consistent with the sustainability, livability, and economy goal of the Caltrans 2015-2020 Strategic Management Plan. And the project benefits generate public awareness and curiosity about this paleontological discovery while fulfilling a unique opportunity to compensate for the paleontological impacts stemming from the Plainsburg and Arboleda projects, to educate the public about the associated paleontological discovery that has become such a notable part of California's rich natural history. So that again is July 15th, and the event starts at 9 a.m. And the event will be held at, like I said, that corner of South Vista Avenue and East Sandy Marsh at the Plainsburg exit. And I know that we're going to have Caltrans, UC Merced County, and representatives from our congressional, state, Senate, and Assembly member offices. So the public is invited to attend that grand opening. It's pretty exciting. So that's why you see all the elephants, the mammoths on the overpass. I didn't even know that. So before this. So our next board meeting will be July 9th at 10 a.m. And I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July and be safe and use sane fireworks. Any questions?
Any questions?
No? Also, too, I want to congratulate new council member, Mr. Wallace. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. All right. So.
Yeah, just remember, Mr. Robert, our fireworks are bigger than Atwater's.
Yeah, but they have a nice parade though. So. All right. Have a safe one. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I missed my turn. Would you allow me to speak at this point?
For citizen comments?
Yes.
Yes, you may do so. Yes.
Good evening. I'm Barbara Ratzloff, 1458 Main Street. And I have some questions, Mayor, about the sister cities. I know there was no it was not publicized. I got an invitation and I showed up. And I'm wondering who is paying for this? Has the council approved it in the past? I didn't see anything in any agendas. And like I say, it wasn't advertised. And the problem I have is I sat in a hot sun for an hour and a half, and it was all in Spanish. And I don't speak Spanish, but obviously everyone except the council members that got up and spoke, I heard them. So I have a problem with that because I would welcome the sister cities, but I'd never heard of them. You had no agenda to give it to anyone that was there. I know you introduced the 3 people, but I never knew who they were. I don't know the names of the cities other than trying to recognize. So I do have a problem with that, and I wondered who's paying for this. So I know you can't answer my question this evening, but I do have a problem because it was all in Spanish, and I just sat there for an hour and a half, and I heard nothing that I could understand. So thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other citizen comments on the phone since I opened up the opportunity for citizen comments? Anyone else on the phone? Anybody else in the chamber? All right, thank you. Coming back to the dais, 7:33. Are there any city staff announcements and reports?
None tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Any city manager announcements and reports?
None tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. So next we have city council members' announcements and reports. Mr. Wallace?
Yes, just a couple of things, Mayor. I visited Public Works, CAL FIRE, the chief of police, who gave me a tour of the police station. I've interacted with a lot of the people here in the audience that worked for the city in the 9.5 years. But I wanted to go in a different capacity because this is a new step and it's like I'm starting from day one. But I want to thank the 3 people that I got to visit. They answered all my questions, gave me complete tours. and I was completely satisfied. I had a couple issues that just struck me as wrong, and I have brought them to the attention of the city manager, and he will be getting back to me on those issues. But other than that, everything went good. And I got one present, and I don't know whether the fire department or the police department can use it. They're gonna have to fight it out. This is a brand-new flag, and it's not folded in a triangle. I'm sorry, it's never been unfolded the way I got it. Now, I don't know who has a flagpole that can use it, but I'm willing to donate it to whichever one of you two wants to claim it first. Fight it out, or pick a number 1 to 2, and we'll have the mayor pick a number and hide it. Or share it back and forth. There you go. Thanks, sir. And thanks again. Thank you. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilmember Jason Rott.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too attended the Sister City program, and I thought it was a great event. There was some things that, I'd like to had been a little more involved with. Maybe the next time I can talk to you that in private. Another thing, I want to thank Diego Castillo for donating his building and the food. The food was excellent as always. Secondly, I served on the planning commission with a planning commissioner and found out this 2 weekends ago, I believe, that he passed away, Adnan Bath. So I'd like to offer my condolences to the Bath family. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Mayor Pro Tem Samra.
Thank you. I just want to wish everybody safe and happy 4th of July coming up. Don't do illegal fireworks. You want to see big fireworks, come out to our park, and we're going to have a great show. And also, tonight, they'll be spraying our parks for mosquitoes just to prepare for 4th of July so we don't get overly excited by mosquito bites. And also, for anybody listening, if you see mosquitoes, you can call mosquito abatement, call the city, and we can report it, and they'll come out and spray your area if you need to. Other than that, that's all I have tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. So I just have a couple of items. One, on Sunday, I had the opportunity to volunteer and support a vaccination clinic and organized by New Beginnings, which is a nonprofit from Winton, and that really supports a lot of different events that has to do with spay and neuter and rescue in all over Merced County. They were grateful enough to come back to the city of Livingston. It's been, I think, probably about 3 years since the last time they were here, and they called, and I was able to ask Mr. Castillo if they could use his building, the Mason building, which was used last time as well, and that's where the vaccination clinic was done. It was at no cost. It was vaccination, rabies, and microchips. It was through a grant given to New Beginnings and police department, and the animal control officer was there to assist for registrations, for name tags and all of that. So it was a city-supported event. It wasn't, but it was organized by New Beginnings, and hopefully they come back again sometime soon. It's very much needed. They said that every time they do this event in Livingston has been the most attended clinics they ever had in years. I know that last year we had people from all over Merced County, and this year the same. I think last year they had over 500, and this year they had over 480 pets that attended or that were part of the clinic, and it's at no cost. They did have to wait. Unfortunately, it was hot. But it's very limited to what the organization can do, and then maybe next year or next time when they come back to the city, we can, help with some shade or some, borrow pop-up tents from people and just go out there. But I wasn't in, I ended up, actually, Mr. Wallace ended up coming over and he assisted me in directing some traffic because after a while the parking lot was full and just people needed to park down the street and it was a lot of people. And then the other thing is I wanted to just briefly mention the last weekend or Saturday and Sunday and Monday we had the sister cities coming over to visit, and the unveiling of the street signs was done on Saturday. And I do apologize for not having someone in to be able to translate everything back into English. We were able to cut down 2.5 hours of an event to an hour and a half, and it was because it was just very hot. But it's something, we always learn something new, and we need to make sure that we have either a translator or maybe the headsets next time to be able to assist or support everybody else, other than people that only speak Spanish or understand Spanish. In regards to the question, if it's something that the council has, in regards to the budget, there was an item line that was in the budget that was approved by the council. Probably, I think it has always been approved by the council, so it's included in the budget. It's not an item that has been brought up individually before the dais, but it's included in the budget. So it was approved by the entire council. So it's not something. Some people might tend to say that it was something that was never approved, or tend to give that thought that it wasn't something that came before the council, but it was approved by the council. And I took I was able to assist Monica in as much as I could in able to plan this, because last time it was only one delegation that came to visit our city last year in July. This time it was 3 delegations, and it was just a lot of work. And not everything was hosted by the city. There was donations by residents in the city, whether they provided the meeting location, meals, breakfast, dinners that were donated by residents and community members in the city. And so not everything was hosted by the city or at the expense of the city. But I do see probably, maybe it would be a good thing to provide additional planning other than just inviting people to the event, and inviting more people in the community to participate in the planning of it as a sister cities program. For it to be successful, it is also recommended to eventually have a nonprofit work with the city to be able to move this forward. That way, not all of the work is on the city every single time. And then also because, for instance, someone at the city, they already have too much work, other work that they need to be taken care of, and this would be an additional event or to be organized, depending on what we decide or what the city wants to do with this program. Eventually, if in the future years there's no budget, then there's no program. Also, I do want to thank everyone that attended. There was representatives from the office of Senator Ana Caballero, Assemblymember Esmeralda Soria. There was also Congressman John Duarte that was present. The head council from the Mexican Council from Fresno, Mayor Pro Tem Samra, Councilmember Jason Roth, Councilmember Maria Soto, former council member Ms. Roslav, Mayor from Atwater, Mike Nelson was also there, Merced College trustee Mario Mendoza, the Los Baños Unified School District and Dean Instruction for Los Baños Campus at Merced College was also there. The Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation was also present. The Director of Government and Community Affairs for Golden Valley Health Centers was also present. Julio Valadez, trustee from MUHSD, and former council member Alex McKay was also present, and also the diputado, which I think it's kind of like a congressman from the state of Jalisco, was also present, that was visiting the city for this special occasion. Planning Commissioner Jasneel Singh was also present, and Acting Chief of Police John Ramirez was also present, and CAL FIRE was also present, and the fire department from the city of Livingston was also present, and about 150 other people. So total, there was roughly about 200 people that were present, and about 140, 150 people was able to attend the lunch that was also provided after the unveiling. I have not been able to post or share any pictures because honestly, I've been really busy with school. I was lucky enough that today was the last day of me teaching summer school, but I still have other school responsibilities that I have to finish up in regards to personal classes. So starting tomorrow, I will have some free time in the morning for about a week or so, if anybody needs to meet. Other than that, actually out of this Sister City projects, I just found out yesterday that the president of UC Merced and the president of Fresno College are also going to be participating, and they're going to be visiting some of the sister cities in Mexico because they learn about some of the programs that they have and some of the agriculture strategies that they're using, and they want to go study what they do so they can bring it back and do additional research and eventually actually have an additional agriculture program that they could implement here. So I was very happy to hear that. And so there's more things that have come out of the Sister City program outside of Livingston. So there's some benefits that have expanded to other areas in the community that eventually will additionally help or support or benefit not only our residents but our future students that could eventually attend UC Merced and other colleges that are learning more about because of the program Sister Cities that was implemented here a long time ago, and we're working together to bring this back. I know there's also, in the past, there was a city in Japan. Yes. I don't know how long ago that was. I haven't really had time to go back into history and realize or figure out when that was, but I think it's also important to eventually make connections if there are community members that want that to continue. I know that with at least Churincio in Jalostotitlan and Zapotlanejo, there's been interest and requests by community members since at least about a year and a half ago. So this is not something that just started a few months ago. It's been something that was initiated by community members from those communities that Churincio, one of the sister cities, probably about 30 to 40% of Livingston's population comes from that community. And probably that's why we had a large turnout on Saturday. And so it's originated. I didn't even know about this program until it was brought up to my attention, and I looked into it, and the council supported it, and that's why we've been working on it. But we'll see where this program takes the city of Livingston. And as of now, I've been hearing good feedback in regards to where now Livingston it's also being known as a place that has a street sign right across the street from one of those 3 different communities. And now I've been sent pictures since Sunday that people have come to Livingston just to visit it so that they could take pictures by the street signs. And that's the whole idea, is to, create opportunities to make Livingston another stop, a tourist stop for other people that want to come to Livingston other than just because they're driving through on Highway 99. And hopefully that grows, and we find more opportunities to make Livingston a stop for people from around our community. Or I know that on Saturday there were people here from Petaluma, from Napa, from San Jose, different parts of the Bay Area, from Cholac, from Lodi, obviously from here and around in Livingston and Atwater and Cholac, but it was good. It was nice to see people from outside being able to visit our city. So at the end of the day, that was something that will be hopefully end up benefiting the city of Livingston in regards to the sister city programs. All right, and I think I promised it was only going to be 5 minutes, but I think it was 6. Okay.
We'll take it out of your next allotment, okay?
All right. Okay, and that's it. Next, we have the consent agenda. Actually, let me and ask if there's any additional questions or comments in regards to the Sister City program. Yes, you may come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Mike Nelson, I'm the mayor of Atwater. Jose, I want to thank you very much for inviting me to the Sister Cities unveiling of the signs. Atwater used to have a Sister Cities program about 20 years ago, and about 15 years ago, 2008 time frame, it went by the wayside. But I will say that gave me the opportunity to actually visit Mexico during one of those trips, other than the only other time I've been to Mexico is on the Carnival cruise to Ensenada, and that's not really a true representation of Mexico. But we've come through the efforts of the Atwater Rotary Club. We have projects every year in the Guadalajara, Tlaquepaque area, and we've really developed some strong and lasting relationships. In fact, mi hermano in Tlaquepaque is flying in tonight to Fresno. He's going to be here for the 4th of July and whatnot. So it was a really great, it's a great program. But congratulations on doing that, and you need to be commended on that. So thank you for inviting me tonight.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
No, Mr. Mayor Nelson? Quick thing. Did you ever get one of these from the city?
No, I did not.
Coming up here.
Oh,
There you go. Okay.
All right, thank you. Anyone else, please come forward.
Good evening, Council. My name is Jaime Fuentes. My address is 1472 Bay Street. On the sister cities, I'll be really brief because you guys already spoke most of what it is. And I think sometimes we forgetting something. Right now, the most popular thing is social media. The sister series is not media. It's a person-to-person social. And it's a human-to-human that we go back to our roots. And I do apologize for not having a translator. I mean, I think we made mistakes as we plan things, but because of people telling us what's wrong, we can fix those things. But you don't hardly see me around the chambers or the meetings, but when I see a project that I believe on, I'm going to show up. And congratulations for doing that. We're united, our roots, our families. But not only that, we're going to see a lot of education across the board, products going back and forward. It's not a one-day thing. It takes a lot of work, and it takes time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, Council, I'm just going to try to keep it short too. Again, I already said I was able to go as a council member in 2004 to Wakami, the city that used to be a sister city with Livingston, Wakami, Japan. And in 2015, when I was mayor, I got invited to Zapotlanejo when I was heading over to my hometown to visit my hometown. And that's kind of like how it started. And like I said, but that was a request of residents wanted me to go visit their city and potentially have a sister cityhood. And again, Carlos is, just about an hour and a half from Zapotlanejo. And Enrique, forgot his last name. He used to be high school. He went to high school here, junior high and high school. And now he's a council member in Carlos. And he's the one that requested it when I went over there in 2017 with Alex McCabe. And he requested the city be a sister city with that city. So there's residents here, and mostly in Turlock from Jalos. And as you stated, also Churincio. So it's all been the residents that have been seeking. I know that past former Mayor Juan Aguilar, like I said, is also his family is from Changuitiro, which is next to part of Churincio. And so they've been requesting to him in the past as well. And actually the mayor back then came to Delhi and, met with me as well regarding the sister cityhood. I told him that's why he recommended Juan Aguilar to speak to him. So, but like I said, these requests have been coming through, and I know that other cities have been coming, but I know that in the end it gets expensive, and we don't want to make sure that we form a good committee in the future, and I'd be willing to be part of the committee to be able to so that we don't lose touch. Like I said, we always want to push commerce from Merced County and Livingston, Merced County to other countries and back and forth, plus friendship. So I think that's what Sister City International is about, is creating friendships and commercial opportunities for the countries. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? I think there was another opportunity that came up earlier as I was talking to someone in regards to one of the delegates that was representing one of the cities. Is also a business owner in Texas, and he travels all over the state doing electrical work with this company. And he heard about the project that we have for the recreation center, and he's like, count me in, and I'll find a way to come all the way to Livingston because it's our sister city, and I will donate part of my work with my company, with my employees, to participate in whatever we can do as part of the recreation system. So, there's many different ways and benefits that hopefully this program will bring to the city. And my 3 minutes expire. All right, moving on next. So we're closing 7:58. Next we have.
May I interject? Can I have a
Yes.
point of order? Just a quickie on the vacancies under my name. Is it going to be that I am going to be, does it take city council to appoint me to these, like city council, alternate liaison for Parks and Recreation Committee? Does that have to be done by the rest of the council, or am I going to automatically assume the ones that were printed under JT Mann's name before?
I think you were reading my mind, and that is something that I was going to mention for our next meeting to be included in the agenda. So it'll be something that we need to bring back to the council,
Okay.
and then hopefully you will say yes to everything and just be part of those committees to formalize it.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Next, we have the consent agenda. Items on the consent calendar are considered routine and non-controversial and will be enacted by one vote unless separate action is requested by a member of the public, the city manager, or the city council member. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless members of the public, city council, or city manager request that specific items be removed. Public comment on consent agenda items shall be limited to 3 minutes per person regardless of the number of items contained within the consent agenda. So, council, we have items 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the consent agenda. Are there any questions, comments, recommendations, motions?
You want to go to the public first?
Sure.
That way.
Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Anyone on the phone? Hearing none, coming back to the chamber. Any public comment on the consent agenda items? Seeing none, bringing it back to the dais at 8 o'clock.
Mr. Mayor, motion to approve the consent?
So we have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda by Mayor Pro Tem Samra. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
That will be Mr. Wallace, second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Ross,
Yes.
Councilmember Wallace,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Samar,
Yes.
Mayor Moran.
Yes.
Motion passes by a vote of 4-0.
Thank you. Next we have
Look out, Mr. Roth, you got a new sheriff in town.
item number
draw.
5, discussion and potential action items. Item number 5, consideration of resolution submitting questions at the general election regarding the changing of the positions of city clerk and city treasurer from elected to appointed positions and requesting county to add it to the ballot at the consolidated statewide election. Receive direction from the council on council argument in favor of. Staff recommendation, approve resolution and give direction on council argument in favor of. Would this be you, Roy?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Go ahead.
For this item, thank you, Mr. Mayor. For this item, as council may recall, before council's consideration of the resolution necessary for placing an item on the ballot to ask voters to weigh in on whether or not they would like to change the designation for the city treasurer and the city clerk from an elected position to an appointed position by the city council. It is not uncommon. In fact, it is the general practice of most cities now to have city treasurers and city clerks who are appointed by council because of the need for such specialized training. These positions tend to be full-time jobs where in the past they may have been able to be handled on a part-time basis, but because of the level of detail and the amount of work that's required for both the city clerk and the city treasurer, most of these positions have now become positions appointed by the city council and positions that are tend to be full-time positions at the city. So the resolution currently before the council is a resolution asking 2 questions. One, whether the voters would like to change the city clerk from an elected to appointed position, and the same question for the city clerk. Typically for issues relating to the arguments in favor, the city cannot expend resources preparing an argument in favor of a ballot item. However, we tend to prepare what's called a neutral statement that would go with the ballot measure to the public. With that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions that the council members may have.
Thank you, Roy. Council, are there any questions?
I have just one quick one. The $24,000 price tag on this to put it on the ballot, that is a one-time fee and just for this coming ballot for this November, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Roy, is that a fee because of this one specific item or just in general with all of the items that need to be included in regards to any city of Livingston or including the election of the 2 council members and the mayor?
You know, I would have to double check, Mr. Mayor. Those fees are set by the county. So I'm not sure if it's inclusive of the other ballot measures and election measures that are already going forward, including the special sales tax. I would have to double check on that, but that fee is set by the county for the process of putting the item onto the ballot.
Thank you. Council, any other questions at this time?
Yeah, just a question. So basically, what you're looking for, and just to make sure, I know there's two parts to it. One is to, let me get this in here, to pass the resolution to put this to the voters. And I'm kind of confused on council direction arguments. Can you go clarify what the way it's worded? I'm kind of having trouble understanding. Because what I would kind of like to do is have the attorney write the arguments for, not a council member, but I just want to get a little clarification on that, Mr. Santos.
Sure, Mayor Pro Tem. Typically, what the city attorney helps prepare is the neutral statement of the ballot item that gets sent to the county and typically is added to that pamphlet that all voters get with pending ballot measures. An argument in favor of a particular ballot measure. Unfortunately, the city attorney and city staff cannot participate in the creation of any ballot measure or any ballot argument either for or against the ballot item because city funds cannot be expended for such advocacy. So we would just prepare the neutral statement that goes along with the ballot item and ultimately get sent to the voters. Any additional argument can be prepared by individuals, including council members. However, it can't be done in a way in which the city pays for that advocacy.
Got it. That's kind of how I understood it. Just wanted to get a clarification. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. At this time, I will go out for public comment in regards to this item number 5. Is there anyone on the phone with public comment in regards to item number 5? Hearing none, coming back to the chamber, is there any public comment in the chamber in regards to this item?
Good evening, Council. I think you guys know how I feel. I don't think we should be spending money on it. I think in the past, it's been more of political about the $100 that this position gets paid. But I think with all the attorney time and all these meetings that I've been coming through, and I haven't been coming regularly, I think that we spent enough money on the attorney reviewing this, reviewing the ordinance or reviewing whatever's going to be on the ballot, and also the potential $24,000 or less. I think it's ridiculous that we are looking at changing the positions to an appointed position. So thank you. That's all my comments.
Thank you. Anyone else in the chamber? Seeing none, bringing it back to our dais at 8:07. Council, are there any other questions, comments, suggestions, motions? So personally, when it comes to this, I think there's actually, once we get a chance to analyze the pros and cons, there's more pros, and then this will be an opportunity to take this away from being a political item. But more than anything, I think for me the big picture is about getting things done. Being able to have someone that is actually could be able to do everything that needs to be done that is actually described and required by state law. But unfortunately, I don't think there will be anyone that will be able to do this for $100. And we need to have someone that is able to work full-time in a position. And by being appointed, I think that the term being appointed, it's very tricky. But that's because of legal requirements, that's the way it has to be addressed. It has to be the term appointed in order in order to have someone that has the qualifications and the ability to do the work and assist the city clerk, the executive city clerk, to be able to get all of the responsibilities done. I understand that there was different ways how it was being done in the past, but now with so much work, one person cannot do two jobs. And even though the language here, it's a little, I think, tricky, but it has to be this way. It has to be, quote unquote, appointed by the city clerk, I'm sorry, by the council, but more than anything, it has to be confirmed by this. I think the word confirm would have been better, but it actually, they have to interview, they have to go through the process to make sure that it is someone that is qualified, not someone that's just, that doesn't have the qualifications to be able to do and perform the duties that we're looking for. So personally, I think the language is tricky, but that's the way it has to be. That's the way it has to be described as appointed by the council. But I would be in support of moving this forward.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Ever since the city was incorporated, a elected treasurer and a city clerk was never an issue until recently. We all know that. Let's not kid ourselves. Now, one thing I do agree that the amount of workload that the city clerk does now has gone up quite a bit due to different regulations and all that. I'm all in favor of having not necessarily designated, but a deputy city clerk available that's already been compensated with whatever duties made available to the city clerk. I'm okay with that. Say, okay, employee A, you are hereby, we create a position within the city, a deputy city clerk. That way, if the city clerk is elected, that city clerk has the option of saying, I'm going to delegate my duties and responsibilities to the deputy city clerk. That person is already being compensated and not being overburdened or overloaded. I'm okay with that. But to me, just suppose it goes to the voters and they reject it. Says, why should we? We still have to do the same thing. So I don't get that part, But I'm okay. I'm conflicted in saying it, but I don't have a problem giving the voters that option. But to fix this, I think we should just create a position, deputy city clerk, let the city clerk have the option of appointing or doing the job. And that's it. But, okay, I'm good either way. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yes, go ahead, please.
I don't particularly like the $24,000 price, but a little bit of research I did, either the clerk or the city treasurer that's been elected, one gets $60 a month, the other gets $100. Somebody in this city staff is doing a lot of their work already. So that makes little to no sense to me if we already got people having to catch up and help them. And in March or April, the city council made a resolution making one of them where they could appoint or assign some of their duties to someone already on our payroll. So a little bit of wording, but no, this needs to be a yes by this council, and this needs to be an appointed, city-appointed employee, not someone that's been elected that may or may not have the proper credentials, and you left them an out where they can appoint somebody else to do some of their job. That does not make sense to me. I'm sorry, but we need to vote yes on this.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I see what's going on currently, and, the young lady sitting down at the end, she does more than she should. I wouldn't mind, and I know there's bylaws and the law that we have to follow. Just like Mayor Pro Tem said, a position created. Having an appointed again, you know, I'm in between. So for me, $24,000 is a lot of money, and lately there's been a lot of money going out, not a lot coming in, if you will. So I'm conflicted as well.
Good point. But also, I think that the question is, there's a possibility that those $24,000 is not just for adding this one position to the ballot, but adding everything else. Because if I remember correctly, one previous time when there was a question about adding an item to the ballot, I think there was a price range of around $10,000 to $12,000. So what I'm thinking is that those $24,000 is probably for the different items that are potentially going to be going into the ballot, and not necessarily one item. But then again, that is just based on my recollection of a question a while back.
Mayor, that is correct. It's consolidated. That includes the election.
So I mean, hopefully that helps with that concern. That is not just this one item, but it's just everything else that is going there.
Thanks for clarifying.
Council, any other questions, comments, motions? I will motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'd second that, Mayor.
So we have a first and a second, motion by Mayor Moran and a second by Mr. Wallace. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Councilmember Roth?
No.
Councilmember Wallace? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Samar?
No.
Mayor Moran?
Yes.
Motion fails by a vote of 2-2.
Thank you. Next item, we have item number 6. Consideration of a resolution submitting to the voters at the general municipal election to be consolidated with the statewide general election held on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, a measure to change the term of the mayor to 4 years and limit consecutive terms of council members to 2 terms. Receive direction from council on council arguments in favor of. Staff recommendation, approve resolution and give direction on council argument in favor of. So first of all, I do want to say, I did talk to Mr. Santos because I did have a question in regards to, because, the language included in this item included that of the mayor to turn to consider putting it to the voters to go to 4 years. Personally, and this is just my opinion, there's pros and cons, but I think I would lean more towards leaving the term to 2 years because I think that if something is not working out, then they're gone in 2 years. So, but I do believe that we should have a conversation, and then again, like in one of our previous conversations, we heard and we mentioned that we could leave it up to the voters and see what they want to do. If they don't want to have any term limits, once again, it's not going to cost anything other than just the cost is going to be the same. It's just like we said earlier, it's going to be a consolidated cost. So having the opportunity, and I think there's pros and cons. There's arguments in favor, there's arguments against it. But I think that this would also encourage others to start considering getting involved. And like once before, like Mayor Pro Tem said, if the voters don't want me, they can vote me out too. So and then I think it it would be a good thing to put it up to the voters and see what they say, and if they're happy with the way it is without terms, then let it be. And then something like this is moving forward, you know. If it's 2 terms for council, then it is 2 terms. But I think instead of just having 2 terms, I think we should also include language. If we're moving forward with this, we should include language to say how many years in total. Because, you know, if the mayor term stays for 2 years, then, you know, two terms for mayor is probably, you know, sometimes barely enough to get things done as a mayor. So, you know, and then if we consider a number of years as a limit, then someone can run for council and someone can run for mayor as well. So I don't know, just my thought. But personally, I do favor the 2-year term for mayor. It's a lot of work. There's very limited to what can be done in 2 years. But if someone really wants to do something, they will work twice as hard to get it done. And then if they want to run again, they can run again and, you know, make it 2 terms and be 4 years. But I'd rather have the option of just the 2 years, because if we get a mayor that is really not proactive, then, you know, 2 years is more than enough. You don't want to have someone in place in an office that is going to be lazy and not going to do anything for 4 years. So just my opinion. Council, any comments, suggestions before I go out for public comment? So at this time, I will go out for public comment. Is there any public comment on the phone in regards to item number 620 at 8:21? Hearing none, is there any public comment in the chamber?
Good evening, everyone. Jabjeet. If I understand correctly, for the council member terms, it's 2 consecutive. It's not 2 total, right? So somebody could be in 2 terms, either be mayor or just not have a seat for a term and then come back and run again for 2 more terms?
So just real quick, this is just barely the start of the conversation, so it could be anything. My idea, my proposal is to make it a term limit on years that someone can serve, whether it's 4 years in council, 4 years as a mayor. So instead of being 2 terms or 2 consecutive terms, for it to be a term limit on the number of years someone can serve in this council. That way it could be on either position.
Right, but just as it's currently written, the way it's currently written is somebody could be in for 2 consecutive terms as a council member, not be in for 1 term and then come back for 2 consecutive terms. Again, it could be changed, as you said, open conversation, but I'm just asking, like, in the way it's currently written right now.
Roy, chime in. Can you raise the volume on Roy, please? Go ahead, Roy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as currently drafted, because in looking back at the direction from council, we didn't have specific direction on the amount of the term limit. We looked around at neighboring jurisdictions in the area that currently have term limits, and the most common was the 2 consecutive years, 2 consecutive terms. Typically, you have to sit out at least 1 term, and then you could come back and be reelected for 2 additional terms. But there's always at least 1 term that you have to be off the council before you come back.
Okay, thanks. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. Just wanted to confirm the language. I think I might actually like that, if anything. But I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comments or questions in the chamber? Seeing none, bringing it back to our dais at 8:23. Council, any?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
After reading through it and doing a little bit of research on my own, I would do not adopt the resolution, maintain the status quo. If you want to run for mayor, you want to run for council, you're 2 years up, run again. If the people in this city don't like you, don't like what you've done, they're not going to vote you. It's up to them. If you want to serve 6 years, 8 years, the citizens have decided, you haven't decided. Let the citizens of this city make that decision, not us. It should be the citizens that are doing that election. So my feeling on this should have been a no by me, and that would be my no vote if it comes to that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a perfect example of term limits. People voted me in and out on multiple occasions. And to me, if we put a term limit, are we actually restricting the rights of the voters and saying, you know, this person did a hell of a good job, too bad he can't run again, now we have to cause a 4-year, 2-year, whatever break. You know, we were going in the right direction, now we gotta wait 4 years, we don't know. And to me, you know what? Every 2 years, they decide, the voters decide 2 council members and a mayor. They can always change the majority. You know, I don't know. I don't think, leave it alone. We've had it in the city where even if your term is not up, voters have stepped up and says, we're not going to let you finish your term either. We're done with you guys. We don't like you. We don't want you. We're not going to wait for the election. You're out of here. People have already done that. So people already have a strong voice. I think just leave it the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
You know, I'm going to use your words, you know, if people don't like you 2 years, if you get a mayor and that they don't like, you know, it does make sense. So I'd like to keep it as is as well.
Thank you. You know, and then kind of using your examples, I think you're right. And you have said the voters are the ones that should decide. And then putting it up on the ballot, let the voters decide. I mean, if they just, I think that would be more than enough proof. If they really wanted it to leave it as is, then leave it to the voters, and then there'll be no question about it. I think there will be more benefits, and there will be no questions of whether or not they will come back and say, well, we should have had term limits. Well, then we could go back and say, well, in 2024, we put it up on the ballot, and the majority of the voters said no. So, I mean, I think it's what I've heard is it can go both ways, but being able to put it on the ballot, if there's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose, and there's nothing to be afraid of. So I would use your same examples. Put it to the ballot. Let the voters decide. Why not allow the voters to make that decision? And if they say no, then there's nothing to be concerned about. But that is just my opinion. Unless you guys, you know, can prove or say something different, you know. But I think I heard what you guys said. But then what you guys also said is leave it to the voters, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do, to follow what you guys are saying, to leave it to the voters and put it on the ballot and allow them to decide, and not give them the not give them the opportunity.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, Mayor Pro Tem, you've been on the council for a while. How many times has this gone out to the public for a vote?
As far as I believe the option to change the mayor's term to 4 years was initially when it was put to the ballot, should we have elected a mayor? Initially back in 2000 something, and then I believe in 2014, and both times it was a significant number to leave the term as for 2 years. And I don't think we have ever gone to the voters, at least not in the time that I've served so far, to put term limits. We have not done that. And people have already said, hey, we already have term limits, and they've proven me by example.
Any other comments, questions? So the last time was 10 years ago, 2014, around there. So, I mean, how, if I can ask, how would it hurt to put this on the ballot?
I don't know how it will help either. That's the point. People only resoundingly said no twice, and they've already, like I said again, I'm repeating myself, they have already proven that they do already have term limits. So everything is already there in place. And I'm willing to bet that we go through our history and there are people that never even finished their terms when they got kicked off the council. So people already have that power. It's about giving the voters the power to do what they think is good for the city. I think they already have it. And it's no point in complicating it any further. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
I completely agree with the mayor pro tem. The biggest thing we're going to be putting on the ballot is this tax measure. I don't want 6 other different things on them. I think it's working the way it is, and I would make a motion, put it on the floor, that we adopt the resolution and maintain the status quo of 2-year term for the mayor and the city council, period. That's my motion.
Mr. Wallace, in order to keep the status quo, there's no motion needed at all.
It just said, do not adopt the resolution to maintain the status quo. So I see we're all in the same feeling that I'm thinking. Mr. Mayor, evidently wasn't.
There's no motion. I bet you differ there. In order to leave it the way it is currently, there's no motion required.
Okay, thank you.
So you need, are you going to withdraw your motion, or are you going to?
I'll withdraw it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, other than that, the motion would just die on the, would just not move forward. Roy, just a quick question. So if there's no motion, then it would just automatically die?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. It's effectively no action.
Okay, thank you. I'm just translating my thoughts from Spanish into English. All right, so we're moving forward with council direction on future agenda items. So the one item that Mr. Wallace mentioned earlier was, or originally what I was thinking about, to bring the different commissions or commissions currently that were vacated to bring it forward as a next agenda item to officially confirm to see if Mr. Wallace would be accepting to take on those or if there will be any changes. Is there any future agenda items?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
I would like to humbly request that the council consider directing staff to come up with some sort of, and I'm not sure exactly how we're going to word this, obviously because we're not going to put the appointed city clerk and all that on there, we still need to resolve that issue to make sure that we have adequate assignment to an employee that's being fairly compensated for doing that job, or within job description changes, whatever it takes, to make sure that the deputy city clerk with the proper title and compensation is made available to the city clerk. I would like to put that forward. and have the staff bring back with whatever we need to do to make that happen.
Okay. So we'll probably need to have a conversation. Okay.
Yeah, all I'm saying is to not requesting to do it right now, but to bring back to get direction on how we can accomplish that.
All right, got it. Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, so we missed it by 4 minutes. So,
If you would have just kept your comments to, we would have been out of here. Thank you, sir.
all right, we're meeting adjourned 8:34. And please delete Mr. Gopal's summary comments. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.